Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. It's our college football game preview. This week, the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Purdue Boilermakers. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and joining me is the number one college football insider right now on social media talking about college football. He's the youngest member of 100 Yards Football, but he's very talented, coming to us live out of Douglasville, Georgia, by way of Alexander High School, by way a graduate of West Georgia, my man, Mr. Logan Landers. So, if you like the video, please come in and share it. Mr. Landers, tell us about the Buckeyes and the Boilermakers on Saturday.
You know, whenever this game came out, whenever they released the schedules, I'm sure a lot of Ohio State fans saw this game and just thought it was going to be an easy tune-up game just to round out the year. We're getting close to the end of college football. But, my goodness, where have the Boilermakers come from this year? Something's in the water. My God. They have had a season to just look back on and reflect on, and they got to be proud of themselves, man. They put up a good fight against Notre Dame early on in the season. They fell in that one, but they came back with a flurry back in October. They beat, at the time, the number 2 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes. And then, just this past week, they beat the number 3 ranked Michigan State Spartans. What's going on? Purdue's not even ranked right now. And they're putting these upset wins after upset wins when no one thought they would even get close to a victory. Something has just been going on there, and they have had just a great wave of momentum. And if you're Purdue, I hate to say it for Ohio State fans, you got to feel pretty confident coming to this game. Because if you're able to knock off the number 2 ranked team in the country a while back, the number 3 ranked team in the country, Ohio State's number 6 right now. You got to feel pretty solid. Can you get 3 wins against top 10 teams this year? We'll talk about it. But Purdue, let's see what these Cinderella teams been up to. Aiden O'Connell, the quarterback, over 2,000 yards so far. 71% completion percentage also. That means he's not throwing it errantly, and he's able to get it to his receivers efficiently. Not that many touchdowns, just 12 on the year, 8 interceptions, something to work on. But he's able to pick the defense apart against any team he's against. And especially that was true last week because, my goodness, last week against Michigan State, against a team which, everyone thought they were going to run through, and Michigan State was going to keep that top 3 spot. Mr. O'Connell had different plans for them. He decided to throw for a whopping 536 yards. I don't know what was going on with Michigan State, man. That's the top 3 team. You cannot be giving up over 500 yards passing, just passing, let alone in a game. So Purdue deserved to win that one, just how they were able to pick apart that team and put up 40 points on the board. But it's not just O'Connell leading the way. He's got some great help around him, man. He can't do it on his own. He's got a great team around him, of course, putting these great victories in. You got the running back, King Duray, 395 yards running, 2 touchdowns. Xander Horvath, also 2 TDs for him. And they have just looked good. They're able to pick them apart on offense, just throw the ball, dots all over the place. And then also you can go in there with the running game and help out. David Bell, the wide receiver. Man, he is really breaking out as one of the top wide receivers in this class, I think, whenever he is going to decide to move on into the NFL. He's a junior at the moment, but he has looked really good so far this season. Over 1,000 yards catching, 64 receiving catches on the year, 5 touchdowns, and he's looked really good. That's someone that you look at as a potential game changer at the wide receiving position on the next level. I like the way the young man's played this year. And with a 15.7 average per catch, he's a deep threat. He can do anything you want him to do and do it looking good. That's definitely someone that needs to have a great game, a big game once again, if you want the Purdue Boilermakers to pull off yet again another outstanding upset. Watch out for him this game. Also, it's not just him. It's Milton Wright right beside him, 3 touchdowns, 368 yards for him, 36 catches. The tight end, they're not afraid to throw to the big man also. Payne Durham, 36 catches, 356. He's got 4 touchdowns also, second on the team. That's right there. You got to look for the big man. There's a lot of teams, especially in college too. They use the tight end as more of a blocking threat. I've always been, as a football fan, as a commentator, I always like to see the big men get in there, get some touchdowns, get some good work, get some yards. Hey, and he's able to do that. So Purdue has a rock-solid offense. Like I said, they were able to put up these big upsets, these big points, and they have looked good on the year. The defense, they've played great so far this season. Jalen Alexander, 67 tackles, leading the team at the linebacking position. Kydron Jenkins, the defensive end, 3 sacks, leading the team. Of course, right beside him is George Kafarlitz with 2.5, and DeMarcus Mitchell with 2.5. You got to get some sacks if you're Purdue. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to get C.J. Stroud if you want to get this win. Interceptions, they got 11 as a team. Dedrick Mackey has 2 for him. And, of course, the safety, Cam Allen's got 4 on the year. So you definitely got to be able to get some turnovers if you want to get the win in this one. Purdue is a team. They've looked good. They don't put up the most points per game. They only get around 24, 25 a game. So nothing mind-boggling. But just the grit and the determination that they've shown against, pretty much every single team this year. They've had great upsets. They've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. They're able to go in there with a tight-knit defense, with an offense who's able to it can go off at any point, and they've got this win. But let's go over to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Of course, having a really good season so far this year. They're 8-1, and they are looking like a team to beat. And they're right there, man. They are right there at that college football playoff at the moment. Like I said, they're 6th right now in the country. They're right outside of it. And I think that, they're looking good. They beat Nebraska last week. A bit closer than some teams might have thought. But they did get the win nonetheless. Only 1 loss on the year. That was to Oregon back early parts of the season. But, man, C.J. Stroud, the quarterback, has looked tremendous this year. 2,600 yards passing, 67% completion percentage, 25 TDs, only 5 interceptions. He's had himself a phenomenal year, and he's led these Buckeyes to another great season. But it's not just him. He's looked good. Like it's throwing the ball. Only been sacked 7 times. He's elusive. They've got a good O-line. The rushing game right there with them, the par with it. Travion Henderson, 937 yards rushing, 12 TDs. That's a good 1-2 combo right there. I don't care what conference you play in, what team you are, if you're NFL, NCAA, high school, you got to have a good system with your quarterback or with your running back. If those two were able to connect and to just be as dynamite as they've been so far this season, it could be another really big day for Ohio State. But it ain't just them. You got to go to the receivers. They've been helping out as well, putting in some good work. Jackson Smith-Nagiba, 888 yards on the year for him. 50 catches, 4 touchdowns, had himself a day. And, man, he's looked really good. He's looked great just so far this season. And I think that he is a key player. He's looked really good in recent weeks. And if you're Ohio State, keep throwing to him. He's leading your team in catches. Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver, 6 touchdowns for him, over almost 700 yards on catching. Man, but they've got just such a good team, just absolute athletes all around. And if Ohio State really wants to get it going, you got to go to the young man, the guy who's really been putting in work, Chris Olave, the wide receiver, looked really good, the senior. My goodness, he's got 10 touchdowns so far in the season. I think that Ohio State, if you keep throwing to those dynamite players, Jeremy Ruckert, the tight end as well, he's got 3 touchdowns. Watch out for him. I would like to throw the tight ends there. Tight ends deserve some love, Vincent. They get underappreciated in whatever aspect of football. Give the guys some love. They do it all. Watch out for him. The defense, it's Ohio State. You got to have solid players across the board, offense, defense. It don't matter. Ronnie Hickman, 73 tackles on the year. Absolute ball hog, gets to whoever has it and puts them down on the ground and does not let them up for any means necessary. They've got Haskell Garrett, 4.5 sacks for him. He's looked good. He's going to have a good day if they want to get this win. And I think that he is going to get to the quarterback at least once. Who knows for how much more? Man, they've got dynamite players all over the place. They've got guys, like I mentioned with Hickman, he's got 2 interceptions on the year, leading the team. And also right next to him, Ryan Watts, the cornerback, has 2. 11 picks as a team. They've got a whopping 33 sacks as a team. If you're Ohio State, I'd feel pretty good, but there's always, like we mentioned, there's always that spoiler right there with Purdue. They've looked great so far this season. They've pulled out in the big games. They've played tough. They've played it tight. And I think they're going to play a great game. Ohio State puts up a lot of points, almost 45 a game. Like we mentioned, Purdue around 24, 25. So two opposites here. But I think overall, in the end, if I have to give my final prediction, my final score, Purdue, the Boilermaker fans, I don't see it this week. I just don't see it. Ohio State, they've looked great so far. I think they're going to keep marching into that college football playoff. They're right outside of it at the moment. Ohio State, they got the win in this one, but I'm going to make it close. I always like to keep these games close. I don't like talking about blowouts. That's how the game is, but, man, I like to see some close football games. That's how we all like to see. Watch it on Saturday and get a good game. So Ohio State will get the win in this one. I'll go Ohio State 35 and Purdue 17. I think Purdue's going to come out the gates hot. They're going to be amped up playing against Ohio State. But then watch out, because I think maybe that second quarter after halftime for sure, you'll see the Buckeyes start throwing the ball, start running the ball, and they just start going to take over, I think. And I think Ohio State will get the win in this one. And like we always do here on these game previews, Vincent, it's going to be another great game. And I got a great song, I think. But this one, we always talk about great bands, whether it's from America, from Georgia. I'm going across the pond in this one. I'm going over to England with a great band back in the day, Vince. I know you know them. ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. They had a song, a hit song everyone knows. Of course, Mr. Blue Sky. And this is just how I think Purdue has been so far this season. And Mr. Blue Sky, tell us why. Please tell us why. You had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? That's what Purdue's going to be asking themselves after this game. Like I said, they've had a great year, but where'd you go against Ohio State? It's going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch it. Hey, it's going to be a great season. I can't wait for this game to kick off on Saturday.
My final words about this football game on Saturday. I'm going to start with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, head coach Ryan Day, I know you're a guy that likes to throw the football, and I know Ohio State has had great quarterbacks in the past, Cornelius Green, Greg Kensel, Troy Smith, here recently, Dwayne Haskins. Come on, man. And Justin Fields from last year. Why you have C.J. Stroud last week throw 54 passes with 20 incompletions? Even though he threw for 400 yards. You got a freshman running back that's the second coming of Archie Griffin. With speed, my man, Mr. Trey Vayon Henderson. And the thing that worries about me, Buckeye Nation, your defense still gives up explosive plays.
Yeah.
Now, Logan, you brought up a score of 35-17. But right now, when you look at the Purdue Boilermakers, I see some over there that I don't like. They've lost some games this year. Yeah. But so far, when they ain't played in big games, they've been dangerous like a shotgun. Mm-hmm. Mr. O'Connell, you brought up against Iowa, 400 yards. What did he do against Mel Tucker in the Michigan State defense last week? Over 500 yards. And one big key. We're talking about wide receivers for the 2022 NFL draft. Mr. David Bell might be the best in the country. The facts don't lie. Nope. 11 receptions, 217 versus Iowa. Excuse me, let me back up. That was against Michigan State last week. Against Iowa, 11 receptions, 240 yards, 21 receptions. Buckeye Nation, don't take the Purdue Boilermakers lightly, because the second coming of Lenny Dawson is coming through that door. The second coming of Rob Woodson. The second coming of Leroy Keys. The second coming of Mike Phipps, Jeff Brom, and the Boilermakers are not going to be scared coming into Columbus. So that being said, if you like the video, please come in and share it. And to Buckeye Nation, dun 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 dun. If you like the video, please come in and share it one more time. I'm Vincent Turner, and joining me is the very talented, our college football insider, Mr. Logan Landers. God bless, and y'all have a wonderful day.